Clint Eastwood's passion for film made him a cultural icon, but behind his on-screen persona lies a man with a deeper story. While the world knows him as a legendary actor and director, Eastwood's estate recently revealed something unexpected, something that could change how we view him. Join us as we uncover the hidden secret found in Clint Eastwood's estate, one that will leave you speechless. Humble beginnings. Before the fame, the women, and the bright lights of Hollywood, there was a young man just trying to find his way. Long before Clint Eastwood became a household name, he was a struggling nobody, just another face in the crowd, hustling to make ends meet. His journey wasn't paved with red carpets. It was built on grit, hard work, and a relentless drive to prove himself. For nearly 7 decades, Eastwood has been an icon, an actor, director, producer, and even a musical composer. Born on May 31, 1930 in San Francisco, Clint Eastwood Jr. entered the world with a strong presence, weighing in at a hefty 11 pounds, 6 ounces. The hospital staff nicknamed him Samson, a fitting title for a man who would one day become a Hollywood giant. He was the firstborn of Ruth and Clinton Eastwood Sr., followed by his younger sister, Jean, in 1934. The Eastwood family lived in Piedmont, California, where his father worked as a business executive and his mother, a homemaker, later took on a clerical job at IBM. But Clint wasn't the picture of an ideal student. He struggled academically and had a rebellious streak. High school saw him getting expelled for pulling pranks, one of which involved burning an effigy on the school lawn. Eventually, he transferred to a nearby technical school, but books and lectures still weren't his thing. To get by, he took odd jobs like being a paper carrier, lifeguard, grocery clerk, firefighter, and even a golf caddy. Then came 1951 and the Korean War. Drafted into the U.S. Army, Clint spent his service at Fort Ord as a lifeguard, never seeing combat. But his time in the military would set the stage for what came next. After his discharge in 1953, he packed up and moved to Los Angeles, reconnecting with an old Army buddy, Chuck Hill. Hill had Hollywood connections, and through him, Clint landed an audition with director Arthur Lubin. At 6'4", with striking, rugged looks, Eastwood had the presence of a star, but not the skill. His acting was rough, and Lubin advised him to take drama classes. Still, there was potential, and Lubin offered him a contract for $100 a week. Clint took it without hesitation. In May 1954, he had his first real audition and his first brutal rejection. The years that followed weren't easy. Clint scraped by with minor roles, appearing in Revenge of the Creature, Never Say Goodbye, and Lawman, his very first Western. He made small TV appearances on Highway Patrol, the Reader's Digest series, and Death Valley Days. Then, in 1958, he landed a lead role in Ambush at Cimarron Pass, a moment that should have been a breakthrough. But instead, Clint would later call it the lowest point of his career. It was a long road to Hollywood royalty, and Eastwood's journey was only just beginning. Clint's big break arrives. Just when it seemed like his big break would never come, he landed the role of Rowdy Yates in Rawhide, a CBS Western series. It was the breakthrough he had been waiting for. Though he didn't love his character, he embraced the opportunity, even directing trailers for the show. After 6 successful years, Rawhide was canceled, pushing Clint to explore new horizons. That journey led him to Italy, where he starred in Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns. As the man with no name, Eastwood captivated audiences in A Fistful of Dollars for a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. These films became global sensations, and when they finally hit U.S. theaters in 1967, Clint Eastwood was officially a household name. With his growing fame, he took control of his career, founding Malpazzo Productions with his own money. In 1968, he released Hang 'em High, solidifying his status as one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Actor, director, pop culture icon. The 1970s dawned, and with it came some of Clint's most unforgettable work as an actor, director, and producer. He delivered unforgettable performances in A Mule for Sister Sarah, Joe Kidd, and Escape from Alcatraz, while his portrayal of Dirty Harry made him a cultural icon. At the same time, he stepped behind the camera, directing Play Misty for Me and High Plains Drifter, proving he was just as skilled behind the scenes as he was in front of them. Unlike many of his peers, Clint's star never faded. Over the decades, he continued to act and direct, creating masterpieces like Unforgiven, Mystic River, $1 Million Baby, Gran Torino, and Sully. His work wasn't just commercially successful, it was critically acclaimed, earning him multiple Academy Awards. Beyond film, Clint showcased his musical talent, composing scores for Mystic River, Flags of Our Fathers, and J. Edgar, along with original piano pieces for In the Line of Fire. His passion for storytelling extended beyond the screen, shaping a career unlike any other. But while the world knows Clint Eastwood for his films, fewer people know about the place he calls home: Clint Eastwood's many mansions. Clint Eastwood may be one of Hollywood's most legendary figures, but when it comes to his personal life, he prefers peace over paparazzi. While many stars bask in the spotlight of Los Angeles, Eastwood found his sanctuary in a place that mirrors his rugged independence: Carmel, California. Since having a net worth of $375 million, the actor and director has had a spectacularly successful career and an impressive real estate portfolio. Eastwood resides in Carmel, California, not far from Hollywood, and he also owns and manages various companies in Carmel, a quiet coastal town where he was briefly mayor. His home, Mission Ranch, is more than just a residence. It's a piece of history. Originally built in the 1850s and later expanded in 1895, the farmhouse sits on a breathtaking 22-acre property where the Carmel River meets the Pacific Ocean. With stunning ocean views and a peaceful atmosphere, it's a far cry from the chaotic energy of Hollywood. Eastwood's love for Carmel goes beyond just living there. He once served as the town's mayor and has invested in preserving its charm. He even saved the Mission Ranch Hotel and Restaurant from developers, restoring it into a unique retreat with 31 hotel rooms, an on-site restaurant, and a herd of grazing sheep. It's safe to say that Eastwood has built a legacy not just in film, but in the town he calls home. And in many ways, this idyllic retreat is a far better life than Rowdy Yates ever had. Eastwood's stunning Bel Air mansion. Eastwood's taste in real estate is just as refined as his taste in film. Beyond his beloved Carmel retreat, the legendary actor and director also owns a stunning Bel Air mansion, a modern masterpiece designed by renowned architect Paul McLean. Completed in August 2014, this home is a blend of elegance and functionality, offering an unparalleled living experience. From the moment you step inside, you're met with sweeping panoramic views of the city, accentuated by the mansion's sleek contemporary design. With 7 bedrooms and 12 bathrooms, every detail of this residence is meticulously crafted, setting a new standard for luxury living in Bel Air. But Eastwood's real estate portfolio doesn't end there. One of his most remarkable properties is a historic mansion in Sun Valley, Idaho, which was once a Hollywood treasure itself. This breathtaking 12-acre estate, listed for $15.99 million, served as a filming location for the 1956 classic Bus Stop, starring Marilyn Monroe. The property includes a main house, a guest house, and a party barn designed for grand gatherings. The 6,000 main house is a modern craftsman dream, featuring 5 bedrooms, 5.5 baths, a study, and an open-concept living and dining space. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame the stunning mountain landscape, creating a perfect harmony between nature and luxury. The guest house adds another 2,000 square feet of comfort, with 2 bedrooms and vintage Hollywood charm. while the 3,000 square foot party barn transforms into an event space, complete with a dormitory, full kitchen, living room, conservatory, and heated garages. Designed for both relaxation and grandeur, the estate boasts a 3-car garage, an outdoor hot tub, a massive fire pit, and terraces with flowing water features. Mahogany wood and stone finishes add a classic touch to this otherwise modern retreat, making it a one-of-a-kind property. Whether in Bel Air or Sun Valley, Clint Eastwood's homes reflect his timeless style, blending history, luxury, and a deep appreciation for craftsmanship. From the sweeping city views of his Bel Air mansion to the Hollywood charm of his Sun Valley estate, each of his properties tells a story. But one of his most iconic homes, Hacienda Este Madera, is now on the market for an astounding $9.75 million. Hacienda Este Madera Mansion. Nestled in Pebble Beach, California, near the famed Carmel by the Sea, this nearly 5-acre Spanish colonial estate exudes old-world charm. Built in the 1920s and last purchased by Eastwood for $3.9 million in 1994, the property is tucked away in a private, gated enclave near the Pebble Beach Golf Links, which Eastwood and a group of investors famously bought for $820 million in the late 1990s. Spanning 6,922 square feet, the mansion features 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, with a grand living area that boasts ocean views and hand-hewn wood beams. The home's thick adobe walls, glazed terracotta tiles, and carefully wrought ironwork give it an unmistakable Spanish character. Inside, the kitchen is a showstopper, complete with a Carrara-topped center island, oak floors, and a striking checkerboard backsplash. A loggia wraps around the central courtyard, leading to each of the 6 bedrooms, while high ceilings, Moorish-style carved doorways, and multiple fireplaces add to the home's warmth and grandeur. The formal dining room has hosted legendary dinner parties, entertaining Hollywood elites, artists, authors, and even foreign dignitaries. Custom glass chandeliers, tiled flooring, and a sprawling stone terrace further elevate this historic retreat. Set against the breathtaking backdrop of Bald Mountain and the Smoky and Boulder Mountains, the estate's peaceful atmosphere is completed by an artificial lake and lush gardens, hidden from the chaos of city life, yet close to Sun Valley's famous ski slopes. The property offers the ultimate blend of seclusion and luxury. While Eastwood's real estate empire is impressive, his personal life has been just as eventful. Beyond his sprawling estates and Hollywood success, Eastwood has built a reputation for something else: his romantic entanglements. The ladies' man. Just as he owns many mansions, Eastwood has also been known to keep the company of many women. His love life has made headlines for decades, with relationships that have ranged from whirlwind romances to long-term commitments. From Hollywood starlets to behind-the-scenes affairs, Eastwood's charm and charisma have made him one of the most talked-about leading men, both on and off the screen. When Clint Eastwood first stepped into Hollywood in the 1950s, he wasn't just a rising star, he was also a newlywed. His first wife, Maggie Johnson, stood by his side as he navigated the early days of his career. Their marriage would become his longest relationship to date, but it wasn't exactly a picture-perfect love story. Behind closed doors, Eastwood's romantic life was far more complicated than it appeared, filled with affairs, secret children, and a web of high-profile relationships. Eastwood ultimately fathered 8 children with various women, including his first wife, Titanic actress Frances Fisher, and his second wife, Dina Eastwood, whom he was married to for over 17 years before they divorced in 2014. But just when it seemed like his days of romance were behind him, he found love again with Christina Sandera, until tragedy struck in July 2024, when Eastwood announced her sudden passing. But long before his recent heartbreak, Eastwood's love life was already making headlines. His journey with Maggie Johnson started in May 1953, when he was fresh out of the military and contemplating college. A mutual friend set them up on a blind date, despite Johnson already having a boyfriend at the time. But all it took was one look at Eastwood to change everything. Eastwood was just as smitten, admitting they hit it off right away. They continued dating, but there was a catch. He wasn't exactly exclusive. While charming Johnson, Eastwood was also seeing other women. And before he even made his move to Los Angeles, he had already fathered a child with another woman in Seattle. By the time he settled in LA that fall, Johnson had graduated and moved back in with her family in Alhambra, California. Marriage was suddenly on the table. Eastwood hesitated at first, but in the end, he decided to take the plunge. The couple tied the knot on December 19, 1953, just months before his secret daughter, Lori Murray, was born and placed for adoption, completely unbeknownst to him. But wedded bliss? Not exactly. Eastwood later admitted that their first year of marriage was terrible, confessing that he still wanted to do as he pleased, and that's exactly what he did. In the late 1950s, he began an extramarital affair that resulted in the birth of his second child, Kimber Lynn, in 1964. Did Johnson know? That's the million-dollar question. While it was never confirmed, their close friend Fritz Maines recalled a moment when Johnson had asked him point-blank if Eastwood was playing around. Maines, not wanting to break her heart, lied to reassure her, and it seems Johnson chose to turn a blind eye. "I preferred not to dwell on it," she reportedly said. Looking back years later, Eastwood gave his own take on their unconventional marriage, telling Playboy, "She was a woman who knows how much room I need." Room, indeed. And as history would prove, he would take plenty of it. Eastwood and Johnson's marriage wasn't completely doomed from the start. There were happy moments, too. After years of turbulence, the couple finally settled down and welcomed 2 children of their own. Their son, Kyle, arrived in 1968, followed by their daughter, Allison, in 1972. Hoping to build a quiet life, they relocated to Carmel by the Sea, California, where they spent 7 years constructing their dream home. But even a dream home couldn't save a crumbling marriage. Behind the picturesque facade, Eastwood was tangled in yet another affair, this time with his co-star, Sandra Locke. While he later claimed that constant bickering over the house led to their emotional drift, the whispers of infidelity only grew louder. By 1979, after years of clandestine romance with Locke, Eastwood and Johnson finally separated. Their divorce wasn't finalized until 1984, but Johnson walked away with an eye-popping $25 million settlement. And yet, despite everything, Johnson and Eastwood never turned into bitter exes. They remained close, even standing side by side when Eastwood was elected mayor of Carmel by the Sea in 1986. Their daughter, Allison, later revealed just how tight-knit their family remained. A secret affair with a co-star. But Johnson wasn't the only woman balancing life in Eastwood's tangled web. Long before his high-profile romance with Locke, Eastwood had already been carrying on a years-long affair with stuntwoman Roxanne Tunis. Their secret romance, which began on the set of Rawhide in 1959, reportedly lasted a staggering 14 years. And in 1964, Tunis gave birth to their daughter, Kimber Lynn, though Eastwood had no idea at the time. When he finally learned the truth a year later, he admitted it felt like getting the wind knocked out of him. Though he made financial arrangements for Kimber, his presence in her life was sporadic at best, visiting only every 3 or 4 months. Tunis, however, remained loyal. She continued to see him, making quiet visits to his film sets and offices. The exact moment their affair ended? Well, that remains a mystery. Then came Sandra Locke, the woman whose relationship with Eastwood would make headlines for over a decade. Their first meeting was in 1972, when she auditioned for his film Breezy. She didn't land the part, But Eastwood clearly didn't forget her. By 1975, he cast her in The Outlaw Josie Wales, and that's when everything changed. At the time, both were married. Eastwood, of course, was still with Johnson, and Locke was in an unconventional platonic marriage with her childhood best friend, Gordon Anderson, who was gay. But none of that seemed to matter. According to Locke, Eastwood assured her that there was no real relationship left between him and Johnson. The two quickly became inseparable. Locke moved into one of Eastwood's homes, and by the time they co-starred in The Gauntlet, rumors of their relationship were swirling. But they refused to confirm anything, but talk wasn't necessary. In 1979, Eastwood and Johnson finally separated, and Locke's place in his life seemed more permanent than ever. According to Locke's autobiography, she had already undergone 2 abortions and a tubal ligation at Eastwood's insistence, as he allegedly told her he didn't want any more children. Eastwood, however, denied these claims. For the next decade, their relationship endured, but not without turbulence. What had once been a passionate affair soon turned toxic, and while Locke remained legally married to Anderson, her romance with Eastwood was far from the fairy tale she had once imagined. As Clint Eastwood and Sandra Locke's relationship spiraled, Eastwood wasn't exactly staying faithful. During their time together, he had affairs with both flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves and actress Frances Fisher, further driving a wedge between him and Locke. By the end, they were little more than strangers living under the same roof, until Eastwood made the final, brutal move. In April 1989, Locke returned home to find that Eastwood had locked her out, moved all of her belongings into storage, and quite literally shut the door on their relationship. It was a stunning betrayal, and Locke wasted no time fighting back. She filed a palimony lawsuit, accusing Eastwood of causing her humiliation, mental anguish, severe emotional and physical distress, and mental and physical harm. She demanded $1.3 million, her fair share of the wealth amassed during their relationship, and several properties, including one where her estranged husband, Gordon Anderson, was living. For over a year, the case dragged on, while Locke battled a private war of her own, breast cancer. Finally, in 1990, the two reached an agreement. Eastwood would secure her a $1.5 million development deal at Warner Brothers, let her keep the house where Anderson lived, and pay her $450,000 plus monthly support payments. It seemed like a clean break, or so she thought. 5 years later, Locke realized the Warner Bros. Deal was nothing more than a sham. Every single project she pitched was rejected, leading her to believe that Eastwood had orchestrated the deal simply to keep her from working. Furious, she sued him for fraud and breach of financial duty. The battle played out in court until September 1996, when Eastwood settled for an undisclosed amount. Years later, Locke reflected on her time with Eastwood, revealing a raw honesty about her regrets. "My biggest misfortune, my greatest regret, is that I wish I'd cut my time with Clint in half," she told the Washington Post. "I wouldn't say I wish I never had the relationship, but I wish I'd found a way. I'd understood who he was, and where it would end 5 or 6 years earlier, so I could have gotten on with things." In November 2018, Locke passed away from cardiac arrest related to breast and bone cancer. She and Anderson remained married and close friends until the very end. Eastwood and Jocelyn Reeves. Clint Eastwood's romantic entanglements continued to unfold in dramatic fashion, often overlapping and intertwining. While still with Sandra Locke, he quietly became involved with flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves. Though much of their relationship remains private, they had 2 children together: son Scott Eastwood, born in 1986, and daughter Catherine Eastwood, born in 1988. At the same time, Eastwood was already moving on yet again. In late 1988, while still dating Locke and maintaining his affair with Reeves, he met actress Frances Fisher during the pre-production party for Pink Cadillac. Fisher described it as love at first sight. "He looked right at me, the way he does every other woman in the world, but it got to me too. I just went, 'Oh my God, look at that!'" Their relationship blossomed quietly, and by 1989, around the time Eastwood and Locke's relationship publicly collapsed, Fisher and Eastwood became serious. They moved in together, and by 1992, they were making red carpet appearances as a couple. Fisher once described their relationship as steady, serious, and we have a lot of fun. However, her happiness was contingent on one major factor: trust. In August 1993, they welcomed a daughter, Francesca Ruth Eastwood, and for a while, Fisher called their time as a family miraculous. But trouble soon followed. By the end of that same year, she began uncovering secrets, including Eastwood's hidden children with Reeves. When paparazzi photos surfaced of him kissing another woman, it was the final straw. She moved into the guest house, and by the spring of 1995, their relationship was over. Reflecting on the breakup, Fisher told the LA Times, "With relationships, you're attracted to somebody for a reason. But if you can't get past the honeymoon stage and get into the deeper meanings of why you're together, you're doomed to just stop when things start getting tough." Despite the heartbreak, they eventually made peace, even appearing together at red carpet events. In 2004, Fisher told SF-Gate, "I believe when you have loved someone, if you don't destroy it with pettiness, then the love is always there." As his relationship with Fisher unraveled, Eastwood had already met someone new, news anchor Dina Ruiz. Their paths first crossed in 1992 when she interviewed him for KSBW, but nothing came of it at the time. They met again at a local event in Carmel by the Sea, and this time sparks flew. Eastwood recalled their early interactions fondly, telling Carmel magazine, "We got along really well, and I guess we flirted a little bit." One of her associates even said, "You're going to marry him." By early 1995, they were spotted kissing at a golf tournament. Their romance became official after Eastwood and Fisher split, and in September of that year, he proposed. The wedding was just as unconventional as Eastwood's love life. In December 1995, they obtained their marriage license, and in March 1996, while Dina was on a girls' trip to Las Vegas, Eastwood sprang into action. He planned a surprise wedding at his friend Steve Wynn's estate in just 48 hours. The spontaneous ceremony turned out to be perfect for Dina, who later told people it was her dream wedding. Clint Eastwood and Dina Ruiz's marriage seemed strong in its early years. Shortly after their wedding, they learned they were expecting a child. In December 1996, they welcomed their daughter, Morgan Eastwood. They remained together while raising Morgan, with Dina once saying that the longest they had ever been apart was maybe 10 days. Dina admired Eastwood's humility and love for nature. In a 2007 interview with Carmel magazine, she described him as the least pretentious person I've ever met. She recalled how he gently taught Morgan to respect the environment, even encouraging her not to pick flowers so they could continue to live. He's one of those people who takes bugs outside. I call him St. Francis of Assisi. In 2012, Dina gave the public a glimpse into their lives with the reality show Mrs. Eastwood and Company, which followed her, Morgan, and stepdaughter Francesca. However, Eastwood rarely appeared, and sources told people he was furious about the show, believing it went against his private nature. By June 2012, their marriage had begun to take a dip. Though they still lived in the same house, they reportedly slept in separate rooms. During this difficult period, Dina leaned on her longtime friend, Scott Fisher, a basketball coach who was going through a divorce. While Dina maintained their relationship was purely platonic, Fisher's ex-wife, Erica, became suspicious. In early 2013, she reached out to Eastwood, and by March, Eastwood and Erica were dating, news that reportedly left Dina in total shock. Talk about Eastwood being a player. In September 2013, Dina filed for legal separation, requesting joint custody of Morgan and spousal support. Despite the split, she spoke highly of Eastwood, asking her followers not to criticize him. "He is a wonderful, good-natured, brilliant person," she wrote on Twitter. A month later, Dina officially filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. During an appearance on Bethany Frankel's talk show, she reiterated that Eastwood himself had done nothing wrong. "He is the sweetest. He is a loving, kind, low-key person. My intuition was still great on marrying a good person." By July 2016, Dina had moved on, marrying Scott Fisher in Santa Barbara, California. Erica Tomlinson Fisher. While still married to Dina, Eastwood's love life took another unexpected turn when Erica Tomlinson Fisher entered the picture. Erica, finalizing a divorce from her husband Scott, a longtime friend of Dina, became suspicious of her ex's rekindled connection with Dina. When she reached out to Clint, sparks flew. Their phone calls turned into something more, and by March 2013, the two were officially dating, though they kept their romance under wraps. But, as with many of Eastwood's relationships, this one didn't last. The details of their split remain a mystery, but soon after, the Hollywood icon found love again, this time with Christina Sandera, a charismatic restaurant hostess. The pair made their grand red carpet debut at the 2015 Oscars, and Sandera quickly became part of Eastwood's inner circle. By 2018, she was standing beside him at the LA premiere of The Mule, surrounded by his children, granddaughter, and even his first wife, Maggie Johnson. But in a heartbreaking twist, tragedy struck in July 2024 when Eastwood announced Sandera's untimely death at the age of 61. A devastating loss for the actor, but through it all, Eastwood has remained as resilient as ever. Though the Hollywood legend has always been private about his relationships, rumors are swirling that he may have found companionship once again. Will he go public with his new love? Or will he keep this chapter of his life behind closed doors? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Eastwood has never been one to follow the crowd. The man, the myth, the legend. Eastwood isn't just a Hollywood icon. He's a man of many talents and eccentricities. A former mayor of Carmel by the Sea, a successful businessman, an avid golfer, and even a licensed pilot, he's never been one to slow down. Known for skipping LA traffic by flying his own helicopter to film sets, Eastwood has always lived life on his own terms. Now, 94, the once 6'4" giant has lost a couple of inches due to back issues. But don't be fooled. He's still every bit the powerhouse he was decades ago. With 5 films on the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Movies list, Dirty Harry, The Outlaw Josie Wales, Unforgiven, $1 Million Baby, and Mystic River, his legacy is untouchable. But let's talk about his real prize, his jaw-dropping real estate empire. From sprawling ranches to lavish beachfront estates, Eastwood's homes are just as legendary as his career. Which one is your favorite? Drop a comment below. And before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more juicy Hollywood stories. Click on the next video. You won't want to miss it.